This is the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow geographic choke point carrying massive amounts of global sea trade. The U.S. Navy is using this narrowness to enact a total blockade, attempting to pressure Iran by cutting off its port access and halting sea trade entirely. The first 24 hours of operation have effectively halted movement. U.S. Central Command reports that 0 ships have successfully passed the blockade, and at least 6 merchant vessels have been forcibly turned around due to their links with Iran. This standstill targets massive vessels like this oil tanker. These ships are the lifeblood of global energy markets, but they are currently trapped in the Gulf, with only a trickle of oil and gas managing to escape to the ocean. Enforcing this physical barrier are American warships like these, positioned just offshore to intercept traffic and monitor Iran's coastline. Weaponizing a geographic choke point creates an immediate high-stakes test. Either the blockade successfully forces a political deal, or it leaves the world's energy markets waiting on a trickle. The blockade began immediately after a collapse at the negotiating table. Peace talks held over the weekend in Islamabad, Pakistan, ended without an agreement, moving the conflict from diplomacy to the water. There are 3 primary sticking points preventing a resolution. The first is a basic disagreement over the blockade itself, with Iran demanding the immediate reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. Second is the fate of Iran's nuclear program. Washington is demanding that Iran abandon its program entirely and hand over its entire stockpile of enriched uranium. The third issue involves regional security. Iran insists that Israeli attacks on Lebanon and Hezbollah militants must cease, a condition it claims was part of the original ceasefire agreement. While the U.S. and Iran remain deadlocked, representatives from Israel and Lebanon met face-to-face in Washington today, the first time those countries have held direct talks in decades, though a ceasefire there remains elusive. Ultimately, the physical paralysis of global shipping in the Strait is the direct result of these deeply entrenched political stalemates on land. The reaction from other global powers was immediate. The foreign ministers of Russia and China met today to discuss the crisis, both of whom maintain strong ties with the Islamic Republic. This chart shows the economic reality driving China's concern. Beijing is a major customer for Iranian oil. Any prolonged disruption to this supply chain creates a direct threat to their energy security. China has officially condemned the blockade, labeling the American strategy a dangerous and irresponsible move that will only aggravate the regional confrontation. China maintains its own warships in the region. Their presence creates a tactical variable that the U.S. must account for as the blockade continues. Analysts suggest China's patience has a limit. If the blockade persists, China may eventually use its naval assets to board flagships or protect the tankers carrying its oil. Applying extreme economic pressure to a regional power inevitably triggers the defense mechanisms of reliant superpowers, raising the stakes of the entire operation. Despite the tension on the water, President Trump has expressed optimism, telling reporters that talks with Iran could actually restart within the next 2 days. For now, the U.S. military views the blockade as a success. They have successfully maintained the line, and merchant vessels have complied with the Navy's directions. However, there is a specific risk that could break the stalemate: a Chinese warship deciding to escort an oil tanker through the American blockade line. This would force Washington into an impossible choice. They would either have to stand down and watch the blockade fail, or choose to engage a Chinese vessel. Boarding a vessel protected by the Chinese Navy carries an extremely high risk of miscalculation. In such a tense environment, a single tactical error could lead to a rapid escalation. Weaponizing international shipping lanes is an act of extreme brinkmanship, where a single misread signal transforms a regional pressure tactic into a direct military confrontation between global powers.